Ready?
Directing Park Police Department, make yourself known.
Search warrant. Stand up. Step outside, everybody. Come on.
No. Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
Yes, the police department got an official warrant to search our house for stolen Legos.
What's going on, internet, and welcome to OnlyCops. This is another installment in the Reckless Ben saga. This one's dealing specifically with the SWAT raid on the Airbnb. So far, chronologically, we have had there's a dispute happening between both parties on a civil case. Obviously, somebody took some stuff on consignment, companies got bought out, civil lawsuits came out of it. We here at OnlyCops are not interested in that. I am not a civil tort law attorney, so I don't really have any interest in that. I specifically am looking at this from a law enforcement perspective, and we've had a lot of critiques of what American police department's done in a lot of these. And that there's definitely some constitutional First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment issues in the way that they've conducted a lot of these investigations. There's also been a lack of, say, solid probable cause on some of these arrests. And then here, there's going to be the implementation of a search warrant. We will likely do a separate video altogether just to do like a big quick overview of the whole thing. I might have some people come on as far as attorneys and other stuff come on to kind of discuss that. But here, specifically, we're looking at the ethical, legal, tactical, and ultimately constitutional considerations that need to be made in this. If you want to see it from a law enforcement perspective, you have found the right place. Come ride two-man with us while we go and see this next part of this whole saga.
No, we don't know where he is.
At this time, officers did not know where Snyder was located. While still on scene, Officer Richardson received information from an American Fork resident stating that several YouTubers had been renting an Airbnb property from this citizen. Officers responded to the Airbnb with the intent to arrest Snyder for an additional count of stalking. Upon arrival, officers developed probable cause, including information gathered from video surveillance from the Airbnb, to believe that Snyder had entered the residence and had not yet exited. Officers then prepared a search warrant affidavit requesting authorization to enter the residence to locate and arrest Snyder. During contact with the Airbnb owner, the owner reported overhearing conversations about possible stolen Legos. Specifically, officers wrote in the search warrant affidavit, the homeowner also disclosed that he could hear multiple individuals inside the residence speaking about possibly stolen Lego toys they had taken. Based on that information, officers added a request within the search warrant affidavit seeking authorization to also search for and seize possible stolen property, including Lego merchandise. 4th District Judge Roger W. Griffin reviewed and approved the search warrant. Officers executed the warrant as a knock and announce warrant. What this means is that our officers take the time to knock on the door, to present themselves as officers, and to inform anyone inside that they have a search.
I'm shocked a judge blessed that. There's a lot of judges in the jurisdiction that I've worked in that would laugh at that warrant and say, better luck next time. You're getting information. Obviously, he's in a rental property. I guess there's potentially an erosion of an expectation of privacy if the homeowner who is renting this property out doesn't have any privacy clauses in the contract that he signed to let somebody rent it out. Theoretically, he can share that information with law enforcement, especially if you think something illegal is going on. The stolen Legos, that's really vague to include in a search warrant unless it has something to do specifically with the reason why he's being it has nothing to do with the stalking charge. So I don't know why it's like all in this encompassed. They're talking about Mr. Joshua here having stolen the Legos, or the company of which he represents that did the acquisition to the original company. I've stated in previous videos, like I said, you should go check those out if you haven't yet, that there's a pretty in the gray area for the stalking charge. I do think they actually have a legitimate charge for picketing in a residence, but that's not what's being alleged here. That's not what he's being arrested for. They're specifically going for a misdemeanor. They're rearresting him, I guess, due to the subsequent engaging of this guy that he had go to do a social media post, which I go watch that other video. We talked about that arrest. I got in a lot of hurry here.
Hey, they're probably going to be quick to film. They're probably going to be quick to pull their phones out, so just be aware of that.
Okay.
Go down.
You're recording.
Low. Basement access, west side. We're all going to the back because that's the only access. Correct. And there's a door on the inside that'll separate. Yeah, no, we're good. There's no way out. And windows are open.
It's not gonna announce, yeah.
Everybody step out. Come outside.
Search warrant.
Stand up and come outside. Right now. Let's go. Step outside.
Okay.
Step outside, everybody.
Are we all getting arrested?
No. Don't move like
Totally unrelated, but there is a absolute adorable cat in this backyard.
that. You understand me? Don't move like that. Okay?
Yo. That was we'll just say a weird execution of a search warrant, especially with no announcing like, hey, we're so-and-so PD. It's kind of the whole point of the knock and announce, or like where you're disclosing that you're law enforcement. That's important. I get it's here. It's a bunch of kids and we're in Utah, but in a state like Texas where I'm a certified peace officer, you know, be a little bit more careful when you're approaching somebody's residence, especially from the back door. Nothing they did was unlawful because a magistrate allowed them to do it, but that's I'm just glad these were unmotivated subjects here that are being very compliant. Oh, big old cat.
Are we all going to?
What a cutie.
Just curious. Are we all like? Okay. Dang. That's the first time.
Is it normal for everyone to be placed in custody during a search warrant? Sure, at least it's a temporary detention. That's not irregular to place everybody in handcuffs. Ben himself would be under arrest according to their search warrant, so they got a magistrate to bless it. So that's nothing irregular there, but...
Is anybody else in the house?
I don't think so. I'm just handling my phone. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No, you can't. Just the battery. Widen your stance for me, please. Yep. Come sit down over here. I'll be down. Step forward, please. Right here. Gonzalez, take this one.
Adamson Park Police Department, make yourself known.
His voice squeaks.
Take them over there. Sit down. Yep. Just keep this stuff away from him. This is his right here.
That one's mine. Oh no, that one's all.
Security? Yep. Okay. Yep.
So we could have a discussion about search tactics and stuff like that. I mean, it's gonna be a slow, deliberate search. It's a little goofy. I could go on for a while about that. Y'all probably don't care about it. It's a little weird. And clearly, they don't do search warrants very often, or building searches for that matter. Something else is like typically, especially in a, let's say like a higher stress call like this, we wouldn't want to hold everybody at the door, right? Because imagine if there is somebody that wants to hurt us there. There's not a lot of scene security if we're over here doing, search incident to arrest or frisks for weapons right in front of the threshold of the door. This is considered a fatal funnel. The reason we call it that is that's where if a bad guy's wanting to harm you, the doorway is the first place you're going to be looking at. It's the first place you're going to be looking out at. Shout out to Ben and all them for not being scumbags. These were just kids doing a documentary, fundraising, or protesting, or whatever you want to call it. But normally you don't want to do all that stuff in the front of the door. You move them, you extradite them from the scene, and then finish securing the building. You would also want to do it simultaneously if they were worried about these kids having some sort of illicit. This happens more with like drugs, not stolen Legos and a stalking charge. But you'd be worried about people in the bathrooms flushing the drugs to get rid of them and destruction of evidence and stuff. So you'd actually want to be a lot quicker to go in there and do what's considered a primary search, which is search in big areas, like very obvious places where people can be. And then you do a secondary sweep very quickly to make sure there's not like they didn't tuck themselves into like a cabinet or a closet or something like that underneath a table. And then you would actually conduct the search since they have a search warrant for stolen Legos. Whatever the hell that means. This guy being on a cell phone in a non-secured scene's kind of weird. This is a little petty. Until they know that's a secure scene and they call like a legit, hey, this scene's secure, maybe don't be on your cell phone. Also, that makes that phone, especially as this goes to court and whatnot, a defense attorney can absolutely ask for that phone and have that thing be subpoenaed. It's like rule number 1 of being a cop on duty is try not to use your cell phone while you're in the middle of doing a police action like this. You can do, especially your personal cell phone. They might have offered city cells. This might be a city-issued cell phone for all I know, but still.
Just go hang out with them. Thank you.
Shout out to the lemon pound cake. He's over here checking the kitchen.
Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. Make the sheriff wanna put down his gun and cut him a slice. Of what?
As opposed to, I'm not saying there's not going to be stolen Legos there, but there's definitely not people. So maybe there's Lego boxes here and not food, but I doubt they're keeping it on a stove.
No forced entry engaged when we were walking up, 5 in custody. We got the main target in custody as well.
Okay. That's everything we go. Yeah, just check around, make sure we don't see anything else.
Sorry, yours is broken.
Get out of here. Put it in the warrant or Legos.
Okay, we're good for now, and I'll coordinate with detectives. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay.
Stars.
Bro's got his personal phone up on this body cam.
Everyone out? Okay. All right, let's transport the PD.
Hey, we got 5 in custody.
For what?
Yes, main target's in custody.
You're arresting all
So
5?
I don't know if we need anything else here at the Airbnb. I also don't know who Orem's looking for, but we're taking them all to the PD.
Yo, for what? That was the quickest search for stolen Legos I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so typically, this is weird. So on an arrest/search warrant, right? So the arrest warrant was, I guess, for Reckless Ben and company. I understood at least a little bit their train of thought in trying to tie at least Ben and then anybody that actually showed up subsequently on his behalf, right, for the stalking charge. But everybody else, without confirming that all of those individuals were actually there and actually got trespassed and actually did whatever, especially after they alleged the charge on Ben, you don't really have a reason to arrest or move any of these people, right? What are you doing, like criminal conspiracy or whatever? And then for them to go through all this trouble to say that there was stolen Legos here, especially if they were able to place it on a search warrant and have a judge sign off on that search warrant, it's like the fastest search I've ever seen in my life. You're going to be looking at in places where Legos would fit is kind of what that search. So I'm not going to be like ripping up the drywall and stuff like that, especially not in somebody's Airbnb, but like in bags, in drawers, in places like that. There's oftentimes too with the search warrant specifically, there's going to be like curtilage or like buildings attached to this. If they had cars, you'd have to get it included in the search warrant itself for the scope of what that search is going to be in. But that is, nobody searches that fast unless they weren't searching at all. They were just there to go arrest them and threw in the stolen Lego bit for fun, I guess. But that was, we'll just say, a very sloppy warrant service.
Anything in your pocket's gonna poke tricks every time.
I have a headphone or a phone, wallet, keys, and that's
These guys are all
That's
kids,
it?
man.
No needles, no knives.
No.
Cool.
I don't even know.
Any multiple pairs of pants?
No, just underwear and pants.
Just underwear
chill.
and pants? Okay. I'm gonna pull your phone out, okay? And whatever else is in this pocket.
It search incident to arrest, allegedly, so you're gonna
Cool.
search everything.
What's your name, bud?
My name's Tyler Shaw.
Tyler? You got an ID in here?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
It's the very last card right there.
Oh, this
Wait, no. The last one.
That
in there.
one.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
cool.
one. Yeah. If it's about anything today, I was not here at all, or I wasn't in that neighborhood. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to cops.
You know, I wish I could tell you what I know is going on, but I have no idea. Camera batteries and stuff. Hey, you good if I pull his backpack? Okay, I'm just gonna pull your backpack off you.
Oh yeah,
That way it's like off.
You'd be like, yo, be cool.
Just gonna lift your arm up like this, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, the backpack makes this a whole lot more difficult.
Oh yeah, I apologize for keeping it on.
There's nothing to apologize for. We're the ones jacking y'all up.
Okay, when I undo this, don't move.
Okay.
Okay, do you have it?
Slide the backpack off and that's it?
Yep, we're gonna take it off one by one, okay?
Yeah.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Whose cuffs are these? I don't like my key.
So it's not that they don't like his key. He's got basically like the cheapo Amazon handcuff key. Typically, you're going to get like a handcuff key pen, which is way longer. Allows you to kind of get past the hand and get you get fully inserted into that to uncuff it. I know this is like a weird critique, but like this tells me that you don't arrest people all too often. I actually have a handcuff key, like not even 2 feet that way, but that they're like long. You just Amazon like handcuff key pens versus just like this is the cheapo. They typically come with the handcuffs, but they're like super cheap, like $2 things on Amazon. If you're arresting people all the time, you're gonna have to cuff and uncuff and double lock. Handcuffs, these are like the worst possible keys ever. You should have something a little better in your equipment, especially with a department that has means. I believe in you.
There we go. I got
There you go.
You done on there? Cool. Cool. I'll get your ID in a minute. Yep.
They're welfare checking.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
What was a big old cat? Look at him. He's a cutie.
Benjamin, you want to come with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we all going on, officer?
Dude.
There's a camera. Don't drop that.
I 1000% would be petting that cat. Sorry.
Okay.
We don't want to do that.
Okay.
A nice little Airbnb.
Are they arrested?
Yeah, dog.
I'm not primary on this.
Okay.
Like I was the last one. But we'll go over that. Yep. Okay, just per policy, I gotta search you again before we put you in the car.
Okay.
In the car. Yeah. You're wearing your stance there.
Just as a total cop critique, something that, so he did regular things like waistband, you have like big pockets, right? You have the hood that's typically taught. You also have like right around like the ankles. You also have like generally like around, like it's going to sound weird, but like the groin area. That's typically where guns are being kept. Especially if you're not using a holster, it can fall into like the seat of your pants, basically. Something a lot of people, he skipped it here. It's actually the chest area. I knew a lot of people that actually kept knives like on necklaces and or just a necklace that's big enough to become a weapon. You want to check that chest area, especially if he's got like a heavy, he's got a hoodie on here, so it would hide that actually rather well. But even you got to imagine if he's got a necklace on even under something like this, like a t-shirt, you'd be surprised at how well that hides. That's just, again, if you're used to searching people all the time, used to arresting people all the time, these are things you think about. But That's a small critique. They don't do this often.
I'm gonna lock the door right there. I just pressed the lock key. So if you guys get released, then you can figure out to get your property with the owner of the Airbnb, okay? But you saw we didn't come out with anything else. We're not planning on going back in. You guys are gonna go to the PD. We're gonna figure out what we're doing, and then some of you may end up going to jail. Some of you may end up going
Why
to
are we
the
taking them all?
You have one in you?
Why can't we just question them here?
That way works. Works for me. I'm just gonna hold on to your arm so you don't fall.
Yeah, no worries.
What? Yeah, I still have her ID.
Why are we moving them all?
So they're just questioning us or what?
Yeah, people, we aren't, but yeah.
Okay.
People will be.
Detectives.
Okay.
We're gonna go up.
So I'm gonna hold your arm just so you don't want to get there.
So detectives want to interview him because he's primary for our case. But Orem said they're looking for a bunch of these guys. Provo's looking for a bunch, and Sandy's looking for a bunch. So they're looking at
For what?
potentially criminal usury, F2 for most of them.
I'm not saying I never arrested people for other agencies, but typically that agency could just come in and help serve the warrant, or their detectives would already be here. If it's in my jurisdiction and I have the bandwidth to make the arrests myself, I would arrest them, call them, hey, what do you want to do? I have your people here. That can happen, but typically it's going to require a warrant, which means they had a probable cause affidavit. That affidavit was verified by a magistrate or a judge, right? And they're going to bless that arrest warrant to be executed. We don't typically arrest people for an investigation for a crime that happened outside of my jurisdiction. I'm not saying there's small agencies. I worked at a very large agency, so we kind of handled our own business. In a small one, you might have in smaller agencies, especially in more rural areas, where you have what's called mutual aid. And so they kind of help each other out in this because they have very limited resources. That doesn't seem to be the case here, but that might just also be a regional thing or a different SOP for different. I didn't work in small podunk town.
And that guy with the little beard, he was the one that kept wanting to do the drone shot, and I kept telling him to get out of here. So,
Oh, that copy
of the 29.
yeah, do you have an extra copy of the 29? I can give it to the homeowner. And then we still need to service whoever rented the Airbnb with a copy too.
Jack. Or Ben, whatever.
Okay, so just print another one when you get down there and then serve one on him.
Cool.
Okay, well done. Good catch, thank you. Sweet.
Maybe don't leave your cell phone.
Anything else?
Nope, we're good.
Okay,
We're
are
good,
we going holding cells and separating everybody, or what do you want?
The only one that needs to be separated is this one. What about this kid?
Sorry, this is a weird. I don't do this often. So normally, if I participated in a really large scale arrest like this, we're gonna have for the kiddos on the internet. You guys will understand what this is: a trap house or like a drug house, right? You're also gonna have like a party where you had like a bunch of underage kids drinking. It's happened all the time. Also, when you had like something crazy, you'd have like a really serious shooting, stabbing, an overdose on drugs when there's a lot of people there. So I'm detaining a lot of people to question a lot of people. Same thing on like a shooting that happens at a party for everyone that's still kind of there. We would have this every once in a while where you get like a murder within the family. You detain everybody and you try to prevent them from talking to each other. And this isn't like the prisoner's dilemma. It's that I want to make sure that everybody's statements are their own. It's preservation of evidence is really what you want to do. Because ultimately there is a victim somewhere, if you're doing this the right way, and that victim deserves the best possibility for justice. And so if we have, let's use the analogy of I have a shooting victim. I have a person who has lost their life. I want to make sure I do as thorough an investigation as possible so I'm not getting stuff tossed out due to potential biasing factors. Again, like hearing other people's stories or whatever, what transpired in the events. That's like standard stuff. Like, yeah, we're not going to put them all in the same cell. I think it's weird that we're wasting pretty much this whole police department on this one call here, which is crazy to me, especially with how small this agency is. They probably pulled people from off duty to go execute this search warrant, arrest warrant thing.
Two in our car. So he's going to detectives. That leaves 4. We have 4 holding cells. Just separate all of them.
Separate them?
Yeah, let's separate them.
You have 4 whole cells. On the law enforcement side of it, this wasn't a complicated thing. I don't know why it's been allowed to explode to this point, to be honest, on the search warrants and all that other kind of stuff, like bro, on a stalking charge.
Hey, come here. You remember we were doing Hydra with the guy with the deagle?
Huh?
Remember when we did Hydra with the guy with the Desert Eagle?
Yeah.
This is his Airbnb. He's in my truck right now.
Oh, really?
I'm not small.
Oh, yeah.
And I told people that. He was like, what the fuck? That's so funny. Detectives are going to have Orem come and look at these guys to see, because they have video surveillance of all their guys. So we'll keep them on ice until we can start stripping resources. But sounds like the other shift's rolled in. They're starting to take calls.
Which is good.
Okay. It was great. And the fact that they were coming out when we were walking up.
They get lucky there.
The kid had his phone recording, so I shut it off. But
The other kid had a GoPro.
There was a lot of weird procedural things. The weird handcuff, like not having a proper handcuff key. The like kind of awkward way that they approached the structure, like kind of single file. They weren't in any real hurry. They're over here on their phone while we're still technically on a non-secure scene. They had this element of stolen Legos that was allegedly part of the search warrant. Clearly showed no interest or intent on searching for them. Or if they did, it was like the worst search I've ever seen in my life. There's also weird things on like the search themselves, like incident to arrest was kind of odd. And then most of those other arrests were on the behest of another agency, not their own. Their only interest was in Ben himself versus the rest of the cohort, which is weird. I'm neither here nor there on that, because that might be, like I said, a mutual aid thing. I worked at a much larger agency that apparently had higher standards. But you just, when you participate in this type of stuff more often, you just don't have a lot of those procedural errors.
just gonna give him this copy of the warrant, tell him how it went. Where these douchebags probably have property. Oops. Shouldn't have said that.
He said all these douchebags probably have property. Yeah. Again, showing bias. The conduct overall was nothing. I didn't see any like egregious uses of force. They're arresting people. There was no like leg sweeps or pushes or kicks. The egregious parts, the fact that you're getting shook down by the government, you know, without a lot of PC. And now, from what we know about the events, that Josh guy probably did screw a bunch of stuff up. He's already gotten fired from the company due to doing a bunch of mismanagement issues. But like, we're white knighting this guy that would eventually get fired from his conduct because he thinks that he's being harassed on a civil case. Like, there was no real reason for us to be, as a law enforcement agency, involved in this. This is a civil proceeding with them having an issue. And I'm not saying don't document it, but like, document, report, and then move on. If the DA's office isn't, and they know this, that the DA's office either does or doesn't care about this. They don't know because they're only alleging these charges. We're writing the reports, we're making the arrest, and then kicking it up. We have no idea how the DA's office feels about that. They might turn around and be like, you guys are idiots. Let those guys go. And then we did all this stuff for nothing. Imagine if Ben and the crew resisted any of this stuff, right? This led to a bigger use of force, and people are starting to get hurt now. Potentially the public is getting hurt now. And over what? What really should have been, at best, a bunch of criminal trespass warnings and maybe a Class C ticket for picketing in a residence, which I think they are totally guilty of here. Everybody in Reckless Ben's little cohort here was very cooperative. They were too cooperative, in my opinion, with law enforcement. Not that they needed to be fighting and whatnot. It's just that they answered a bunch of questions they didn't need to. They don't understand their own constitutional rights, and they're kids. Like, this isn't a critique on them. It's just clearly they haven't been helped, or they have very little understanding of how all that stuff works. Most of this was middling at best. I think he's got a very, very good argument for a civil rights violation on the traffic stop for rolling a stop sign, which wasn't really a crime, to be honest, given the way the statute's written. They never had harassment charges because they don't really have that in Utah. The DWI investigation on his friend was total BS. And then the drug sniff of the car, because allegedly maybe there was heroin in it, total BS. There's just a lot of procedural issues here. This is very indicative of just a police department that doesn't have a lot of experience in real investigations for real crime. And then a chief that just like, just a very tone deaf, like, you don't have to respond to this. Like, nobody's asking for your 2 cents in it. And had he probably not said anything, it wouldn't have mattered. You'd have done the FOIA request, you'd have done whatever, but his response was just dumb. He didn't need to triple down and be like, hey, it's an ongoing investigation. We're not going to make any statements at this time. wait for the DA's office to come back with, yes, we're actually going to charge him, and then go from there. The magistrate also signing off on that search warrant / arrest warrant's kind of wild. If he read the same affidavit that I did on the arrest for the initial stalking charge, I'm shocked that he thought it met the elements for that without going to like discovery and all that other stuff to prove that there was reasonable fear. Amateur hour on a lot of this police stuff. But that is unfortunately sometimes par for the course on this type of stuff. There's really cool organizations like Task Force 70 that actually go out and help small departments like this that just don't have the time, the resources, or the expertise internally on how to help with understanding constitutional law. I recommend that police departments take advantage of those, or you can watch our content. We do a lot of body cam breakdowns of real life law enforcement encounters on live streams. And then we also actually evaluate stuff in Hollywood. We will look at stuff like The Rookie or movies like End of Watch, and kind of talk about how a lot of the misconceptions that are perpetrated in those or showcased in those shows can lead to this kind of ignorance happening in real life, and really like messing up the public's expectation for what good in law enforcement actually looks like. So if you like this type of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is the best way to support us continuing to provide this stuff for you for free. And if you want to get more involved in this stuff and picking the type of stories that we look at, the kind of body cams that we cover, and also like the shows that we decide to break down, you can do so by joining our Discord. There's 2 different pathways. You can either become a member here on the YouTube channel or a member of our Patreon group. And for as little as $1 a month, you can actually join that, and it gives you direct access to us. We also do really cool stuff like pre-employment interviews. We'll do like mock panel interviews for people. Also just answer general legal questions around police procedure. And we have a lot of cool people. We have attorneys in there. We have officers from all across the world, literally, that are in there from varying degrees of different experience. It's a cool community. We're advocating for better policing that is, again, observing primarily the Constitution, but also some ethical considerations that have to go in there. But if you like this kind of stuff and you want to get a little bit more educated, that's the kind of stuff that we do here on this channel. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We will likely do like a big 50,000 foot view of this whole thing. So stay tuned for that stuff and all the other content that we have going on. Thank you guys for hanging out with us through all of this if you made it this far. And until next time, peace.